just wanted to add a few more thoughts to this discussion of the Girl Like Me video, and just say that again, for whites that watch this video, for whites that watch the video and have seen the effects of white supremacy, whether you're a supporter of it or you are not a partaker of the white supremacist movement or ideology, again, the video shows that it is in existence, that it is there. Okay, whether it is outright or whether it is institutionalized, the ideology is there, and these children are perfect proof that it exists. That somehow their minds have been infected with the idea that whites are better, are good, and blacks are ugly and bad, etc. It's there. The idea is obviously there. So what I wanted to say there is that, again, and for everyone watching, that we can see that the ideology of white supremacy is wow. You gotta admit that it's powerful. It's powerful enough that without even having to any more physically perpetrate acts of white supremacist violence and corruption and horrible acts on people, that it's on like autopilot basically. It's working automatically now. That black children are coming up automatically taking the idea that they are inferior, that they are bad, etc. That is an amazing thing. So I wanted to go on further, as I talked about a little bit in the first video, is that again, we wonder, people, all these so-called psychiatrists come up with these things about, genetics and whatever. Nonsense, okay, nonsense. We see that obviously it has nothing to do with it. It has to do with the environment. It has to do what's in their minds. So as I said before, if this is the case, if they feel this way about them, how can you expect them to excel when this is the idea? There was one video on here where some white guy was talking about how, blacks are in victimhood and they keep making themselves a victim and they're not trying to get out of it. Again, this video of the children proves that that is BS. That it is not about thinking, who the hell wants to be a victim? Who the hell purposely wants to be a victim? You see? So these children are proof that it has nothing to do with wanting to be victims for any type of gain, that it is actually an actual entity, an actual how can I say, ideology that is upon these children. You see, these children are just coming up. They didn't choose. They're not choosing to be victims. Obviously, it's in their minds. It's been infected in their heads that they are inferior. And whites are superior, nonetheless. In the video is what it shows. Okay? So then you wonder, as I was saying before, you wonder why they can't perform well in school, why the grades are low, why when they get older. See, what happens is those children, when they get older, if they do not obtain knowledge of self, as I talked about, then you see that expression of self-hatred, self-inferiority is then enacted out in ways of violence and in speech forms, etc. You see, for example, look at many of the rappers of today. You see, most of what you hear, if anybody has seen the video by Byron Hurt, what is titled Hip Hop Beyond Beats and Rhymes, he was talking about how every time he asked somebody to rap for him in front of the camera, it was all negative. And it was negativity directed toward another black man or woman. The bitches and hoes syndrome. The gun violence spoken of, how they wanted to do harm to another black man. I'll bust a cap in your ass and, 14 shots to the dome and, all this negative imagery and wordage and word usage. And also the women taking a negative view being spoken of in there, and the women themselves taking on that same idea. As you see, you may know, many women in these communities, in this area, refer to themselves as bitches and things of that nature. You see? And again, look at black people. Only group that I know of, and I'm sorry to say, only group that I can be aware of that uses a term that was placed upon us by white supremacists, by white racists, the only group that I know of that takes a word, and I don't care any excuse, I don't like to use the word, I don't use the word anymore. And when I became wise and obtained knowledge of self, I stopped using it. I don't refer to friends as that's my nigga and all. I don't use that. And I like when other people use it as well. I don't care what the excuse. Oh, we turned it into a term. It means my friend. No, I'm not using it. I don't care. Because this word has been placed upon it. And like I said, again, this is an example of the power and deceptiveness of white supremacy. So much so that we've taken that word and now we call each other nigga. We've been called niggas so much that we've taken that word and begin to call each other nigga, regardless of what people say about it. It means something different now. Still, we've still taken a negative word that was forced upon us, and now we use it. And now we use it. So, it just goes to show you the power. So that's what happens. When those children grow up, if they don't obtain knowledge of self, then that translates into violent action against other blacks. If they obviously think that the black doll is bad, so what do you think when they see another black person? Then they obviously have a negativity towards that. And that's why you see, as they say in the statistics, that 85% of the black crime that committed by blacks is against other blacks. 85% of crime committed by blacks is against other blacks. Black on black crime. You see? As they know the statistics about, young men between the ages of whatever to 25 are more likely to be killed by gunfire at the hands of another black person. So this is what happens when those children grow up. That image and self-hatred, self-inferiority translates into acts of violence. And again, it works on behalf of white supremacy, you see? Because at first, they had to do it themselves. Before, they lynched us themselves. They beat us. They did things to keep us down outright. Now, white supremacy, as I said, is on autopilot. Now, blacks, ignorant ones, have taken that same ideology of the white supremacists and now exact the same hatred and exact the same violence that was once done by whites against us. Now we do it on behalf of the white supremacists. You see? Now we harm each other, we kill each other, and it's like, wow, all they got to do is sit back. There was a Public Enemy song about that. I think it was their third album, or was it the fourth album? It wasn't fit. No, it was the fourth album, I believe it was. In which there's one of the songs on there that comes on, and it's like some guy, some cowboy, burly crosshawk or whatever, and he was like, I wanted to thank all you niggers for taking the trouble, for doing us a favor and killing each other for us, for all you gang bangers and drug pushers and users. He said, thank you for taking us and doing us a favor and saving us the trouble of trying to get rid of y'all by you guys doing it yourselves. Although it was funny, at the same time the message was being put forward, and there's some truth to that. There's some truth. So that's what happens again when those children grow up. That's what happens. If they don't obtain knowledge of self, that's what happens. They will take that self-hatred, self-inferiority complex, and exact violence against other blacks. Who as they should. If the black doll looks bad, then obviously the other black person that you see looks bad, and therefore you hate him. You want to do violence to him or her. You see? The uses of the term nigga, etc. So you can see in rap music today, that's what's happening too. A lot of it is talk against other black people. Like one rapper, what's his name, Immortal Technique said. They talk that violence against one another, but nobody talks about ready to pick up the gun and fight for liberation. Nobody talking about picking up the gun or going to blows with a skinhead, with a racist skinhead, or a KKK member, or some neo-Nazi. You don't hear that. You don't hear that from these guys, you see? You don't hear that. But they're quick to talk about doing violence to another black man, harming to another black man, denigrating the black woman, etc. You see? So they take fault in it because they are still perpetrating that. You see? That's where their fault comes in. That they, obviously, I can only say that they must be totally ignorant. And they're not aware of it because they're doing it so well. They're promoting their image so well. And then the cycle continues. The cycle continues on and on because those images are being viewed in the music videos and the music, and that's also getting into their heads, you see? So that's in their heads too. That's why every rapper has to act like he's a thug or a gangster, or he has to act like he's from jail and whatever. All negative images, right? All negativity. And obviously that cycle will continue. It infects the mind. So again, white supremacy is a very powerful and deceptive ideology. Because now look, again, through the music, it's being perpetrated. The negative imagery. And who runs these companies? Who's in charge of Clear Channel and all these record companies? Who's the real big bosses who run these companies? You know who it is, right? You see? But yet they want to talk about values and morality. Well, then why are you head of the company, CEO, or whatever, or you own this company, and yet you want to promote this type of music if you're supposed to be about values? You see? If you had any type of integrity, you would say, well, you know what, my company is not going to be involved in promoting that type of music. But they want to promote because they know that it's successful in continuing to denigrate the African American community and Hispanic community, and